Hi everyone, my name is Jalen and in this video I'm going to walk you through my final project portfolio for Boeing Smart Parts Initiative. This project focuses on improving transparency, quality assurance, and regulatory compliance across Boeing's supply chain using a blockchain-enabled digital traceability system. My goal in this presentation is to explain what the project is about, the planning behind it, and how each section of the portfolio supports a smooth and successful rollout. I'll go step by step so you can follow the full project story from beginning to end. Before I begin, here's a quick overview of what I'll cover. I'll be covering a project plan overview, an organizational chart, a process flow diagram, a risk management plan, a Gantt chart, a stakeholder management plan, a budget proposal, and then I'll end with closing thoughts. Let's get started. The Smart Parts project was created to solve a major challenge in Boeing's supply chain: the need for full traceability and verification of aircraft parts. Boeing works with thousands of suppliers all over the world, and every part has to meet strict quality and safety standards. Right now, this tracking happens across multiple systems and documents, which makes it harder to ensure accuracy and transparency. The idea behind Smart Parts is to create a single blockchain-based platform that all partners can use to track parts from manufacturing to transportation to installation. This new platform will help reduce counterfeit parts, improve audit readiness, and make it easier to prove compliance to regulators. It also gives Boeing a real-time view of what's happening in their supply chain, which supports better decision-making and faster issue resolution. The key stakeholders in this project include Boeing's executive leadership, who sponsor the project and make major decisions; supply chain management teams, who coordinate suppliers and daily operations; IT and digital transformation teams, who design and build the system; quality assurance and compliance teams, who make sure all requirements are followed; suppliers and partners, who will use the platform directly; the PMO, which oversees timelines, reporting, and coordination. Each group plays a crucial role in making sure the system works well across the entire supply chain and supports Boeing's long-term goals. Now let's look at the organizational chart. This visual shows how the project team is structured and who is responsible for each part of development and execution. At the top is the project sponsor, representing Boeing's executive leadership. Below that is the program manager, who oversees the entire Smart Parts initiative. From there, responsibilities branch out into several areas: a pilot project manager who manages the testing phase; a technical lead and blockchain architect who handles the platform architecture and development; a quality and compliance lead who oversees regulatory requirements; a supplier engagement lead who works directly with external partners; a change management lead who supports training, user adoption, and communication; a PMO coordinator who manages documentation, reports, data trafficking, and administrative support. This structure makes sure the project is organized, well managed, and able to improve smoothly between planning, development, testing, and rollout. Next is the process flow diagram, which breaks the project into clear phases. The Smart Parts process moves through 8 major steps: project initiation, which consists of setting goals, defining scope, and assigning roles; 2, requirements and governance, which consists of gathering technical, regulatory, and operational needs; 3, blockchain, architecture and design, which consists of creating the platform blueprint and choosing tools; 4, platform development, which consists of building the core system, smart contracts, and APIs; 5, system integration, which consists of connecting the platform with Boeing's existing systems; 6, supplier onboarding, which consists of training suppliers and preparing them to use the platform. 7. Pilot phase and evaluation, which consists of testing the platform in a real-world environment. 8. Enterprise rollout and support, which consists of expanding it across Boeing's full supply chain. Overall, this flow helps keep the project on track and shows how each phase supports the next. The risk management plan identifies potential issues that could affect the project and explains how we'll handle them. Some of the key risks include scope creep, which can happen if new features are added without proper review. Mitigation. Use strict change control board so only high priority changes move forward. Integration challenges. Since Boeing has many legacy systems that don't naturally connect to blockchain. Mitigation. Begin integration, planning early, and test small components before full rollout. Supplier adoption delays, especially if suppliers struggle with training or new technology. Mitigation. Provide a clear onboarding toolkit and step-by-step training sessions. Cybersecurity risks, which are important for protecting sensitive manufacturing data. Mitigation. Use strong security architecture and conduct regular security testing. Planning for these risks helps keep the project stable and prevents major delays. The Gantt chart lays out the entire project timeline in a visual format. It shows start to end dates for all major tasks, the length of each phase, and how different teams depend on one another. By looking at the timeline, teams can see when development begins, how long integration will take, when suppliers start onboarding, and when the pilot phase launches. This chart also helps PMO track progress, identify bottlenecks, and make sure the project stays on schedule. The stakeholder management plan explains how communication will work across the project. Each group receives updates in a format that fits their responsibilities and level of involvement. For example, executive leadership gets monthly updates and joins major decision meetings. Supply chain teams meet weekly and help test new features. IT teams join daily stand-ups during development and use shared tools like Jira. Quality and compliance teams get involved early to catch issues before testing. Suppliers receive training through a portal and monthly onboarding sessions. The PMO manages reports, tracks decisions, and coordinates communication across all groups. This plan keeps everyone informed and creates a consistent flow of information throughout the project. The budget proposal outlines the financial requirements for the smart parts system. Major categories include platform development, pilot implementation, supplier integration APIs, cybersecurity, smart contract modules, training and onboarding, reporting tools, system testing, ongoing support, project management, and a contingency buffer. Platform development is the largest cost because it involves over 100,000 hours of blockchain design, coding, and testing. The contingency buffers The contingency buffer helps cover unexpected changes and ensures the project stays financially manageable even if challenges arise. To wrap up, the Smart Parts project portfolio provides a full end-to-end plan for designing, building, testing, and launching a blockchain-enabled traceability platform at Boeing. The materials in this portfolio, from the process flow and organizational chart to the budget, risk, and stakeholder plan, show how a complex project like this can be planned and executed successfully. Thank you for watching my walkthrough of the Smart Parts project. I hope this gave you a clear understanding of how the system will work and the planning that goes into making it a success. If you have any questions or want to explore any part of the portfolio further, feel free to reach out. Before I officially close out the video, I want to take a few minutes to reflect on the project as a whole and talk about what I learned while building this portfolio. One of the biggest improvements I made came from the feedback I received on my original proposal. I was told to make my plan more detailed and clear in terms of structure, especially around stakeholder communication and the technical phases of the project. So I went back and expanded the process flow, added more depth to the stakeholder management plan, and clarified the responsibilities shown in the organizational chart. I also improved the budgeting section. The feedback suggested using more realistic numbers and breaking down the costs in a way that matched industry standards. Updating that section made the financial plan stronger and more believable. What went well in this project was the organization and the flow of the material. Once I laid out the sections like the risk, stakeholders, and process phases, it became a lot easier to put the portfolio together in a way that made sense. I'm most proud of how clear and complete the final version feels. Everything connects back to the main goal of the Smart Parts project. It doesn't feel like a bunch of random pieces. It feels like a real project plan that Bowen could actually consider. I'm also proud of the visuals like the process flow diagram and the organizational chart because they help explain the structure of the project in a simple and easy to understand way. One challenge I faced was figuring out how to simplify complex concepts so they made sense to someone who isn't familiar with blockchain or supply chain operations. At first, my explanations were too technical, and the project sounded more complicated than it needed to be. To fix that, I focused on breaking things down into smaller steps, using straightforward language. I also reorganized the sections so they flowed in a logical order, from planning to design to testing to rollout. Another challenge was time management. This project had a lot of parts, and it was easy to get stuck on one section for too long. What helped was setting many deadlines for myself and tackling the project in pieces instead of trying to do everything at once. Throughout this project, I learned a lot, both about project management and about myself as a student and a planner. I learned that I work best when I have a clear structure and can visually map out the steps of a project. Tools like charts, diagrams, and timelines really help me stay organized. I also learned the importance of communication and project management. A project can have good goals and a strong design, but if communication is unclear, especially with stakeholders, it can fall apart quickly. Creating a stakeholder plan which showed me how important it is to tailor communication for different groups. Lastly, I learned that I enjoy project planning more than I expected. Taking a big idea and turning it into a workable plan is something I found really motivating. It helped me build confidence in explaining technical ideas, organizing large amounts of information, and thinking like a project manager. With that being said, thank you for tuning in to my final project portfolio tutorial.